Okay, guys and gals, as promised, this is going to be the review on the Primus ETA Lite. Excuse me. Excuse me, I am battling a bit of a cold here, so you may hear me hack up a lung or two throughout this video. But anyways, this is the Primus ETA Lite. It is a solo backpacking kit. This has nothing to do with it. This is just my Primus Omni Lite in the background, just to show that I'm a huge Primus fan. Now, I would like to state for the record that I am not paid by Primus. Primus doesn't endorse me. They don't send me free products. I'm doing this video solely for educational purposes to show you what I use in my kit, and what works for me and what I feel is a superior stove, great value, and it works. Bulletproof, bomb-proof, never failed me. None of the Primus gear has ever failed me. Okay, now I'm not going to get into too much of a comparison to slander any other stoves. Everyone has something that works for them. Everyone has a budget. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to show you how this works, why it works for me, and how it's put together, and how I take it down, how I nest it, what I use it for. You'll see in the background here I have some Mountain House chili macaroni with beef. That is my favorite freeze-dried food company. Delicious meals anytime, anywhere, and they work great. They accompany the Primus ETA Lite backpacking stove very well. So let's get into this. You'll notice here this piece, this is the plunger for the Primus coffee tea press for the ETA Lite. Now this I had to purchase separately. It did not come with the stove. In some countries it does sell as a kit with the stove, but it was $11. I was able to find this as well at Tent City, my local backpack and camping outdoor store. So this is the plunger. You can just nest it in between the cozy and the pot. On the bottom of the pot you'll see a smoked lid. This is the lid for the coffee tea press. It uses a triangular locking system. You can refer to the website for the proper terminology and names. I'm going to call it the triangular locking system. It's a patent pending with Primus. You'll notice that the Jetboil has their own locking system. I find it to be a bit finicky and sometimes a bit of a hassle. I know I have spilt, hot beverages on my hand before when trying to unlock it from its base. So the lid for the coffee tea press nests on the bottom. Okay, there it is there. That comes off. We'll put that aside. It also, in the box, you're going to get the stove, or the pot rather. It's a 500 milliliter pot, 2-cup pot. You're going to get the cozy. You're going to get the actual burner itself, and you're going to get a hanging kit, which is basically a string that you can hang this and do your boils with this hanging. And you're also going to get a tripod claw-like base that attaches to the bottom of your fuel canister for unstable grounds. Those two items, the hanging kit, string, and the canister base, are in my truck. They're in my bug-out bag in my truck, and I don't feel like running out in the cold and getting that right now. I could add some pictures to the post a little bit later on. Okay, so this uses a metal little locking latch, C-latch, that locks on here to this webbing. Okay, you have your lid, which is BPA free. This serves as a lid to speed up your boil times. It also serves as a secondary cup if you want to pour your hot beverage, your coffee, your tea, your soup in here. It is also drilled out to act as a strainer if you want to strain, if you're making pasta or rice or whatnot and you want to strain the liquid out of the pot, you can do that with this lid. It comes all in one. So everything nests inside the pot. You've got your 100-gram 4-season mix canister. You are able to use any canister, any size, any company. I stick with the Primus 4 Seasons blend because it's worked for me, and I like supporting Primus. So there's the 100-gram canister. Okay, and here is the actual stove. Now you'll notice on the stove there is minimal plastic. There is no plastic where there should, or there's no plastic where there shouldn't be plastic. You have this plastic over here at the base where the piezo igniter is, and obviously the knob. Now I'm going to call this kind of plastic Glock plastic. It is a very heavy duty polymer. I've had this stove now for almost a year. I've had Primus equipment in the past. I've never had a problem with their plastics. You'll notice on the jet boil stoves, there's a plastic around the actual base of the burner here. I've had that snap on a buddy of mine in extreme cold, and he wasn't too happy with that. So again, this has what I'm going to call their triangular locking system. Okay, it mates up with the bottom of the 500 milliliter pot, and you simply turn it clockwise until it locks, and it's in there nice and sturdy. That's not coming off. It is very easy to take off when you have liquid in the pot, which I will show as we begin to boil some water. It just twists off and pops right off. Okay, so no messing around there. Okay, so let's attach this to our 100 gram canister. You want to make sure that the stove is off, that the fuel control valve is off. Now this has been sitting in my truck overnight. It is minus 11 here where I am, so let's hope we don't have any problems. We shouldn't. Never have had problems before. That locks onto there. Okay, now I've got 500 milliliters of water here. We're going to fill it up and do a quick boil, real-time boil. Now this strap here that's dangling here, that does also lock into the bottom, so not to worry. Turn that, and it just channel locks here. Okay, now I'll get to what these little nebulin things here are in a bit. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So let's put our water. Oh, one other thing to mention, it is marked in the side, it's pressed in the side. You probably can't see that because the lighting's off, but there is gradual markings up to 500 milliliters, and the 500 milliliter mark is right here, which is about right there. Sorry, right there. Okay. Oh, I forgot to take out the coffee press screen, which I will show you how that works in a second as well. Okay. So we're going to fill that with 500 milliliters. And there's 500. We're going to put the lid on, we're going to light the stove. As you're going to turn it on a little bit. Turn it on a little bit. There she goes, she's lit. Going to turn that up all the way, and as you can see, it's not very loud. That's full tilt, and I'm pretty sure you can hear me well. Oop, let's turn that off. I totally forgot to start the timer. It's been a long day. So let's start the timer here. Here's my timer. Okay, let's see if you can see that in the background. Okay. Start that again, and then start the timer. Okay, so while that's going, let's show you how the tea press and coffee filter go together. So you're going to take the lid first. You're going to insert with the embossed triangular part facing towards the bottom of the stove. You're going to put your plunger through there, and you're going to take the plunger and you're going to spin it on there. Very similar design to all the coffee presses out there for the, mug mates, the GSI mug mates and whatnot. And then I'll show you how that works in just a second, once we get the boil going. So just to show you here, it's only been a minute, 50 seconds, and we already got bubbles happening. Mind you, we are in the comfort of my warm house, but I was able to use this system for a 5-day excursion. 3 boils a day. Took about 2 minutes and 50 seconds of boil, 2 minutes and 45 seconds of boil, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the 100 gram canister lasted me for that 5 days, no problem. They do say with this stove going full tilt, they get 60 minutes out of a 100 gram canister. So we are at a minute and 32, minute and 35. And we almost got a boil. Now the lid's off. I'm going to keep the lid on. Mountain House food is great. No preservatives, lots of sodium, of course, to help preserve it, but you want sodium when you're, out in the bush, survival situations, camping. You want to retain a bit of water. Nothing wrong with that. So you can hear it starting to get a little bit more aggressive, the boil. We're at 2 minutes 10 seconds. You can see there's no plastic other than what's on the bottom of the burner as I described. There's no plastic on this kit. It is heavy duty stuff. Okay. Almost. Now if I kept the lid on and stopped taking the lid on and off like I'm doing, this would have already been boiling. I can guarantee that. Because I've used it during the spring and fall months outside, and it's been boiling by 2 minutes 45, 2 minutes 50 seconds. Okay, we have a roaring boil, so we'll say that was at 3 minutes 10 seconds. We're just going to stop that. I'm going to turn this off. Okay, you can see the steam escaping from the holes there. And I will show you how the coffee press attachment works. So you would take off your lid. Okay. You will, let me just get this here. You will place this on the top. Okay. Make sure that's secure. And you're just going to push down very slowly. After you've let your coffee and tea or whatnot, loose leaf tea, steep. Push it down. It does have a sippy cup feature on the lid here, so you don't have to pour it into your lid cup here. Alright. Okay. So there's that. Now, I'm going to run and dump this out. I'm not going to stop the video. I'm going to run and dump this out so that I can finish the video by showing you how it goes back together. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I wanted to dump that out so that I can let it cool and put it back together, show you how it goes back together. Now, you remember me talking a little bit earlier about these little nebulin things. And what those are for is they are situated in the handle like this. They screw in. They are a bit finicky to get out. I'm just going to lock that onto there to give me a little bit more of a solid base. You unscrew them. What's nice about this is, it doesn't beat using an actual multi-fuel stove designed to accept all kinds of pots, but in a situation where you have to use another pot other than this ETA Lite pot, you have the option to do so with these little attachments. So how that works is we're just going to put this aside. That's not too hot. We can set that down. So how these work, okay, is they screw in to these 3 holes right here, okay, and it allows you to use the stove, unlike the jet boil, which only allows you to use the cup it came with. It allows you to diversify the stove and use other pots. So you can set another pot on there, just like that, and be able to boil water with a bigger pot, another pot, if you forget this one for whatever reason, or it's broken, or you lose it, whatever. You can use these little 3 nebulins to adapt and use other pots. So we're going to take these off, and put them back, and I'm going to pack the stove back up to show you that feature. So these, again, they screw back onto the little handle. Now, depending on how useful you find this video to be for you yourselves, I may do a video on the Primus, an in-depth video on the Primus Omni Fuel and Omni Lite, which is the titanium version of the Omni Lite. And I have all kinds of gear, guys. I'm not biased. I don't just have Primus. This is a GSI minimalist cup. You know, MSR titanium spoon and fork combo with a little military style can opener that I dangle from there. So I just use what works for me, and this Primus ETA Lite really works for me. It's compact, it's lightweight, it's built to last. So we're going to take off the stove. Now I've got the coffee filter just sitting in the sink drying off. But you would basically take the screen of the coffee filter, put that in the bottom. You then take your stove. Your stove goes upside down. Your fuel canister, I keep the cap on to protect the threads, goes on like that. Your lid, give it a nice little drying. Don't want to store it away wet and create mold. That's going to go like that. You're going to detach the little handle assembly here. That flips around and locks into here, and there you have it. A self-contained kit, all in one, the Primus ETA Lite with optional coffee tea press. It is a 500 milliliter pot, just to recap. Metal construction, sorry, aluminum construction, alloy aluminum construction, obviously food grade, commercial food grade. Everything nests together, no plastic where it shouldn't be. Great kit, I love it. This cost me $105 taxes in. I have seen it cheaper. I got it from Tent City. I will try to find out a price of what it would cost taxes in, shipped, maybe a little bit of a CGN deal if I can work something out. It's a mom and pop shop. Not to take away from any other businesses. If you can find it at any other businesses quicker, by all means. Like I said, I'm not getting paid by Primus or any other company to endorse the product. I'm telling you where I got it from and what works for me. So again, that's the Primus ETA Lite. I hope you enjoyed that, guys and gals, if there's gals watching. And depending on the feedback, if you find that it was useful, I will do a video on the Omni Fuel TI, Omni Lite rather. Okay, take care guys, have a great night.